Tonight's Fort Wayne Community School Board of Trustees meeting. We begin this meeting, as we do each meeting, with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now we have roll call of members.
Good evening, Steve Corona from the 5th District.
Antoinette Payne, District 4.
Julie Hollingsworth, District 1.
Noah Smith, District 3.
Jennifer Mathias, District 2.
Ann Duff, Member at Large.
And to my left, we have Dr. Mark Daniel, Superintendent of Fort Wayne Community Schools, and Miss Angie Filler, Clerk of the Board, and I'm Maria Norman, Member at Large. This evening, we have no awards and recognition, so we move to the consent agenda, which includes approval of minutes from the meeting held on August 12th, and vouchers and payroll for period ending August 26th, and payroll for the period ending August 9th, and the personnel report. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'd move approval of the items listed under the consent agenda.
Thanks, Steve.
Second.
Thanks, Jen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
Okay. Thanks, Ann. We have no old business, so we move to new business. Steve, can you read the first one?
Sure.
Thank you.
It is recommended that the board approve the acceptance of a high ability grant from the Indiana Department of Education in the amount of $228,867 for the current 24-25 school year. The state of Indiana provides non-competitive funds for districts to address the learning needs of high-ability students. Currently, high-ability services are delivered through the efforts of classroom teachers. The overall program is coordinated by Amelia Flieger, High-Ability Dual Credit Advanced Placement and Internship Manager. I'd like to see that on a business card. Amelia is here to answer any questions from us about this money.
Thanks, Steve. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Thanks, Ann.
Second.
Thanks, Noah. Any questions for Amelia?
How many kids is this hitting? Amelia?
We've identified 3,084 students. That's an increase from last year of 390 students. Overall, we had a larger increase because we were able to utilize local norms instead of utilizing a screener national norm process.
So we went from 390 to 3,084?
No, we went up 390 students from roughly 2,700.
So about $74 per child? Mm-hmm. And what do we get to do with that kind of money? How does that help us?
It utilizes different types of opportunities for our gifted and talented students. We utilize it for Camp Invention for elementary students to be able to attend camp for gifted and talented students for free. We offer 3 weeks of that in the summer. Also provide STEM kits to middle school students throughout the summer as well. And then it also helps support different professional learning for teachers, as well as the assessment process that's required by the state to identify students in kindergarten, 2nd, and 5th grade.
Are you seeing any kind of disparity or groups between K through 12? Like, is there a group of kindergartners that are really sharp, or is there a group of 6th graders, or what grades?
8th.
Or was it 8th graders that are really sharp?
We have gifted and talented students in every building and at every grade level, and so I would not be able to say one grade more than another.
How much do we get on the lowest CTE? This is not probably an Amelia question. Dollars per program. Like cosmetology is considered not a.
Yeah. I know. So we get 714 for a moderate and 11, so it's probably around the 300 to 400 range. I can give you that.
We're getting $74 to help advance and improve these high and gifted kids, but 300 for the lowest. Okay, just to make clear where our priorities are for the state. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just have one. Amelia, Is that intern manager, that internship manager, is that something new or?
It was added to my job title, I want to say 2 years ago.
Okay, okay.
Nice.
So how many students is that involved, just out of curiosity?
With the internship program,
yeah.
we, within the College and Career Readiness Department, we work with approximately 150, but throughout the district, there are numerous students that are
Right.
participating in internships, yes,
Okay.
both paid and unpaid.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks, Amelia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next item up is conscious discipline coaching. Internet, can you do that one?
It is recommended that the board approve the purchase of in-person coaching from Conscious Discipline Master Teachers with Love and Guidance LLC in the amount of $296,660 for the 24-25 school year. There will be 3 master teachers that will provide coaching in 6 focus elementary schools: Abbott, Bloomingdale, Indian Village, Chambord, South Wayne, and Studi, to continue to assist adults in self-regulation and understanding brain state of themselves and their students. This amount also includes virtual sessions for administrators to support implementation. Each mental health grant will fund these coaching sessions. Melissa Richards, Director of Wellbeing and Alternative Programs, will be available to answer questions.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor?
I move for approval.
Second.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Ann. Any questions for Melissa?
I have a question. Just what does the one-on-one training involve? Because it says throughout the school year, and there's only 3, so.
Right, so with our 6 schools, each teacher who has volunteered to take the in-person coaching, they will come, we're starting in September, so 1 visit in September, 1 visit in October, 1 visit in November. Then we're trying to not get what happened last year, which was terrible weather in January. So we're skipping December and January, and then we're going to go February, March, April. So each principal was able to work with the coach that was assigned to them through Conscious Discipline to work at the dates that are best for that building.
Thank you.
We're paying these folks on an hourly basis.
So it depends how many teachers were interested. So like Bloomingdale gets 3 days, and it's a max of 4 teachers per day. And so each, depending on how many teachers were interested, depends on then how many days that building gets.
And how many teachers are going through this program?
Well, so it's the 6 buildings, and so each building has a different amount of teachers. I can get you those numbers.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks, Melissa. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Next up, we have handheld radios and repeaters. Julie, can you do that one? Thanks.
It's recommended that the board approve the purchase of handheld radios and repeaters from J&K Communications, Inc. of Columbia City in the amount of $164,101.54. This purchase will replace handheld radios at 10 schools: Northrop, South Kikianga, Abbott, Bloomingdale, Fairfield, Harrison Hill, Nebraska, Northcrest, and South Wayne. Repeaters will be replaced at 5 schools: Northside, Northrop, Snyder, Southside, and Anthus. In addition, a new repeater will be installed at Nutrition Services. The upgraded handheld radios and repeaters will have wider range and higher communication resolution. Funding will come from the School Safety Operations Referendum Fund, and Mike Manuel, Director of Security, is available to answer any questions.
Thanks, Julie. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Ann. Thanks, Jen and Julie. Any questions for Mike? This might be a dumb question, but what's a repeater? I don't think Mike's in here, actually. Guess you're up.
Oh, yeah. You didn't have to repeat.
The grand entrance. Thanks, Mike.
Right on time. Oh, yes, I had a question. What is a repeater?
So a repeater is a a mechanism that boosts the radio signal. So our high schools are so big that there's no way a handheld radio can get across the building. And it also stretched all the way out to, actually you can pick up some of our repeaters, like we can pick up Southside from here. Okay. So it's on the same concept as what the police use too. There's repeaters throughout the city, so to boost that signal.
Got it.
Yes.
So it's like a Wi-Fi extender
Yes.
for radios.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Did anybody else know that? Was I the only one?
Well, I did Google it,
Oh, well, there you
but
go.
I still wasn't quite clear on what it was, so thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Any other questions for Mike? Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, next up we have School Resource Officer Program. Noah?
Sure, it's recommended the board approve the agreement between the Fort Wayne Police Department and FWCS for continuation of the School Resource Officer Program for 2024 in the amount of $254,440. This program includes 8 full-time trained FPD police officers and will assign an officer at the following middle schools: Jefferson, Kikianga, Lakeside Memorial Park, Northwood Lane, Blackhawk, and Portage. Funding will come from the Operations Fund and the Secured School Safety Grant, and Mike is again here to answer questions.
Thanks, Noah. Is there a motion on the floor?
I move to approve. Second.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Ann. Any questions for Mike?
I just think as we talked earlier, we all appreciate the relationship between the Fort Wayne Community Schools and Fort Wayne Police Department.
Yeah. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, wow. Guys, we're speedy. All right, so that is the end of our new business, and so that leads us to reports. An overview of the Student Service Department's daily functions will be presented. Valuable insights will be provided into the services and the successful strategies implemented to ensure all families and students are helped accordingly. A video will be shown. Tim Captain, Executive Director of Student and Family Services, Kyra Nolan, Manager of Student Services, and Mary Hess, Director of Health and Wellness, will be presenting and available to answer questions.
Good evening, President Norman, board members, Dr. Daniel, and the viewing audience. I'm Tim Captain, the Executive Director of Student and Family Supports. Tonight, myself, Mary Hess, Director of Health and Wellness, and Kyra Nolan, Manager of Student Services, are going to share just one department that's provided at the Wendy Y. Robertson Family and Community Engagement Center. And now we're going to show you a short video. Welcome to Student Services at the Wendy Y. Robinson Family and Community Engagement Center. Come on in. So at our Engagement Center for Student Services, we want to make sure that we are the one-stop shop for all of our parents and our students. Most of our families start off in our affinity room where they get one-on-one services. Some families English speaking, some families non-English speaking. We have full-time Burmese and Spanish interpreters all day, every day here. So any family that needs help, we come in here and help them. We have been blessed with having Parkview provide us with an in-house clinic office to help all of our families. So if family needs immunizations, they can come right back here and meet with our nurses on staff.
We actually won an award for starting to do that with the Indiana Immunization Coalition, just because we were able to immunize so many students. So this is the clinic at FACE, and it's staffed by 3 Parkview community nurses. It's been open since 2016. Since 2017, we've been giving immunizations here. We also reach out mostly to the middle school population, and we do Star Sitter 2.0, Amazing Chef, and yoga during the breaks for our students. And we see new families and try and help them get set up with referrals if they need insurance or to see a doctor or immunizations.
We also facilitate any unique enrollment situations, whether that be third parties, custodial agreements, and other families that may be in transition, our McKinney-Vento program. We also oversee our school choice lottery, which is where we allow parents the opportunity to pick a school that is outside of their assigned attendance area school. So we're always here ready to help and super eager to engage all of the families that visit the center.
Maybe. Hi. Okay, I'll try one more time. That'd be great. Thanks, Mr. Schiebel. Thank you. So FACE is the center located at 230 East Douglas, just across the street. I don't know if it was Dr. Robinson, but many years ago, we became known as we wanted to be a one-stop shop. We wanted to be that place where any family could come to get help. We always want to be able to help if you're new to the country, if you're new to the state, if you're one of our returning families. We always love families to go to the schools, but if it's easier to come to FACE, if it's something we can provide, we want to be that one-stop shop. So we're going to start with Kyra talking a little bit about registration and enrollment.
Hi, good evening. So this year we are pleased to share that we are over 2,000 as far as the amount of online registrations that we had completed. Kudos to our technology department that has done a phenomenal job of simplifying the online registration process. Families who have adolescent students in grades pre-K through grade 12 are able to take advantage of the online registration process. We also do registration in person as well. One day at the school buildings in order to allow families to get to know teachers, see the building, and get acclimated to their new environments. We also do DCS foster placements. We help facilitate paperwork between DCS and the schools that the students will be attending. We also do foreign exchange student placements at all of our high schools, and then we offer early kindergarten testing for students who don't turn 5 by August 1st. As of today, we are up with our enrollment. I don't want to share a number as our official count day is October the 1st, but we are up. We do offer our school choice lottery, like was referenced in the video, for families who want to send their students to a school outside of their designated attendance area. We provide what's called school choice. So different schools have different programs. We try to accommodate families in their work schedules if they'd like for their students to attend schools that are close to their employer or for their babysitting arrangements as well. We also facilitate guardianship paperwork. Sometimes we have students who are placed with relatives or who are court placed. We have parents who are incarcerated sometimes, and unfortunately we have parents who have passed away. So we try to help families and accommodate them to navigate the enrollment process, try to simplify it for them, also meet their needs, provide them with resources, clothing, referrals to outside agencies to assist the families. We also facilitate address changes for the entire district. And then what's also important for families to know that even if they do move during the school year, we do allow them to stay at the current school. We want to keep the students in their current placement and keep, the transition as less as possible. But that's one thing that families aren't aware of. They think that if they do move, they do have to attend the new school, but we would welcome them to stay where they're currently at, or at least finish out the school year. This year, we are rolling out a new truancy intervention procedure that's going to specifically focus on adolescents in grades K through 6, but we're also doing active attendance procedures for all students, and even in pre-K through grade 12, and that's for us to be in compliance with the new Senate Bill 282. We're doing different conferences this year. We had already been tackling the idea of attendance because we understand the correlation between attendance and the academic achievement. So putting forth more efforts and being more intentional about eliminating those barriers, having those meaningful conversations with families to identify the needs of the families, to figure out why it is that their student is not coming to school. Sometimes it might be because of transportation, or if they don't have anyone to watch the student while the parents go to work, just different scenarios. But this year we're being more intentional with addressing those needs. And so we have an outstanding relationship with the Allen County Probation Department. We work very closely with them, so we're excited for this school year.
If this bill had been in effect last year, how many students would have been affected by this?
As far as chronically absent
Yes.
students, we had a lot. Most of our adolescents in the middle school and high school tiers are the most troubling. I don't have the exact number in front of me today. I'd be happy to get you that number. But most of our high schools have the largest number of chronic absenteeism students.
So your team's handling this now?
Well, we had been handling it as a district collectively. With the new implementation with the Senate bill, they're asking us to place a more focus on students in grades K through 6 and addressing the issue sooner than later. So like when students are absent at 5 days and 10 days and things like that, like we're having conferences, we're building teams, making sure that everybody's a part of the process, sitting down with the families and actually going through some barriers assessments to be intentional about the efforts that we provide as a school district.
Are you finding any common themes?
Transportation, of course, is the number one. What we've noticed in the younger students is that a lot of the issues are at home and it's on the parents. But just we as a district are doing a better job of educating our parents so that they understand the importance of students and being in school daily and being in school on time.
I would imagine that most parents are not aware of this bill, and that if their behavior from last year continues, they're going to be in trouble.
Absolutely. So we're going to be sending some different correspondences out to parents, whether it be Parent Square, emails, text messages, and things of that, to make sure that we meet them where they are and try to help educate them. And then even at the different schools, back to school nights and different functions, just letting them know about the new bill.
What are the ramifications for the parents that don't know or understand? Roughly, or generally speaking.
When you say ramifications, as far as like?
If I'm a parent and I'm not sending my kid to school regularly or consistently.
So DCS is the number one as far as the educational neglect. So when a student misses 10 or more unexcused days, then we're mandated by the state to make a referral to DCS. But we also have our relationship, like I say, with the Allen County Juvenile Department. So if a student doesn't do well and the parent doesn't assist us in helping the student get to school, then there'll be consequences on the probation level as well, and being more formal in their approach too.
With the parent?
Yes, because the parent will be held accountable as well as the student.
So this is a Senate bill that their focus is on K through 6?
Yes, ma'am.
It's still my understanding that K is not mandatory?
Not until the age of 7.
Okay, so how does then,
Well, what we do is, as a district, is if a student is enrolled in kindergarten, the expectation is that they would attend school daily. So even if they're 5 years of age or 6 years of age, we still hold them at the same accountability.
I understand that. I mean, I completely understand that, having them want to go to school. I'm just I wanted to make a point that we have something where they're focusing on K, and K isn't even mandatory for our kids. So just, it wasn't anything against.
Yeah, I think the intent is to try to get students engaged in education at an earlier age and getting families to understand the importance of education.
Absolutely.
To Jennifer's point, making it a law to go to school at kindergarten would maybe be helpful.
That would
or
be.
Or even support pre-K.
Yes, yes.
We'd be for that, right?
Yes, I will be for that.
So the summary of the bill says that provides that a prosecuting attorney shall notify each parent of a child when an affidavit is filed regarding the child's compulsory attendance violations. Are we prepared to do that? Are we going to be filing?
We absolutely are. We have a truancy affidavit that we have created. It's been around as long as I've been here, and I've been here for 8 years. So we do have an affidavit that we modify every year to make sure that it's asking the correct information.
Okay.
Questions for me? Good.
Thank you.
I was really happy to come and talk a little bit about the health office at FACE. You all have heard a little bit about it in the past, and Natalie did an excellent job, Natalie McLaughlin, who's our lead Parkview nurse over at FACE, to just tell you some of the things she does. There's no cost to the district at all for the programming that happens at the health clinic at FACE, which is a really wonderful partnership with both Parkview Hospital and SuperShot help us run that immunization clinic. She did a really great job of outlining all the things we do, but just like Tim said, we want to wrap all the health supports that we have around the families that come in. So they might help with the immunization piece, or they might get someone connected to someone who can help them sign up for health insurance. They might get them connected to health care if they need that. We even make referrals to clothing bank and food bank if that's what the family needs. So Natalie gave me some of the statistics from this was last school year. Gosh, I want to read them here because I wasn't sure I would see them that far, but they did 323 new family assessments. The large number of those were non-English speaking. So you can imagine if you are new to the district, new to Fort Wayne, and you don't speak English, how difficult it might be to navigate healthcare in particular. So I think their service is really, it's time well spent. They did 242 medical referrals, 38 of those were food referrals. They did 493 vision and hearing screenings, and then did 1,483 students were vaccinated. That was for a total of 4,166 vaccines. These are both vaccines that are required by the district and also those that are recommended based on their age, so always with parent consent. We just want to keep the door open so that there's easy access for all students. It made a huge difference in our immunization rates once we had this clinic, and they are the only clinic, immunization clinic in schools in Indiana. We've had several other districts come and visit. I don't know if I'm allowed to say Warsaw and IPS have both visited. I think Warsaw is probably the closest to actually following through and getting a center similar to our FACE clinic. So I think that's wonderful that we were leading the way. Most of the kids that we're serving at FACE are actually low-income students. 38% had no insurance at all. 93% were Medicaid or no insurance. And that's what that VFC vaccine means. It's Vaccine for Children Fund. And so we are serving our most vulnerable, though anybody is welcome at FACE, so we can serve everybody there. You can go ahead and click, Matt. Natalie did give you that little rundown on all the things that she's been doing, she and her team, during the school breaks. And they're mostly those programs aimed at middle school, the Safe Sitter, the yoga, the cooking class for kids. And those are things we've reported on before. They continue to be extremely successful. The minute we put out an advertisement, those classes fill up. So kids are enjoying them, and I think they get wonderful feedback. But some things that might be kind of flying below the radar, they call them asthma nights. You can tell we're nurses, right? It's probably not a great title, but we invite all of our students that have asthma, especially if they have inhalers and medication at school. We invite parents to come. They get to talk with healthcare providers, physicians, respiratory therapists, and they do give them free items. And to give you an example what that might be, there are special pillowcases that keep dust mites down, and that's a huge trigger for a lot of our kids. So just for participating, they do get to do that. They usually feed them. Sometimes they have raffles for other things as well. But it's been very well received by parents, and we have at least one or two of those a year. They saw 1,578 eighth grade students in science class. And what they did there was targeted specifically to try and teach kids how to keep infants safe. And they talk about safe sleep and the physiology about why that's an important thing. They try to prevent them from knowing that how bad it is for an infant if you do shaken baby syndrome, if you shake a baby, and they teach them how to save someone who's choking. These are kids in 8th grade that are just starting to babysit and be in charge of younger siblings. So it's a really valuable thing for them to learn. They're also the next generation of parents, right? And so teaching them, especially that safe sleep thing, which has been really difficult in some communities to stick, we really hope to actually long-term drive down infant mortality rates in our area, which are higher than they should be. So it all starts with educating, and they have led the way, those Parkview nurses, with that. They had their 2nd annual Health Careers Fair this summer. It was extremely well attended. They had a variety of people come from Parkview: PT, OT, speech, respiratory therapy, dietary. The ambulance simulator is by far my favorite. They have a mannequin that just acts like a patient, and it opens its eyes. They can make it talk. The kids were really engaged with it. They taught them hands-only CPR. They had a phlebotomy person come. They talked about health coaching, laboratory, what you would do if you worked in a laboratory. And they did hands-on events for all these kids. You can see a picture up there of them. It's a little small, but them trying to learn to don and doff gloves like you would in a surgical unit. Those sorts of experiences make a difference for kids, and they do kind of light a fire that maybe I would be interested in some of these things. So all in all, there were 221 students served by those sorts of things, and I'm very proud to have them part of my team.
Thanks, Mary. The last piece of the Student Services Department that I'd like to share with you is our Families in Transition. Many of you are familiar with Christian Perez, who's our wonderful coordinator for McKinney-Vento. Unfortunately for us, fortunately for her, she's out on maternity leave right now. So I'm going to share some of the data around our McKinney-Vento department. This last year, Fort Wayne Community Schools offered 1,480 students who were identified as McKinney-Vento services, which meant they were in transitional housing and not by their choice. So that meant that they were either in a hotel, in a shelter, doubled up with a friend or a neighbor, living in their car, quite honestly, down at the bus station, and all not by their choice. So with our services, we are able to provide those families. Christian works very well with working with the shelters, working with the hotels, and working with other community partners, especially if they have nowhere to go at all, a place to at least get temporary housing. The next thing that we have is our clothing bank. Our clothing bank has been growing year after year since I've been at Student Services Department. Luckily for us, we are able to provide school supplies, clothing, hygiene products for not only our kids who are McKinney-Vento, who are homeless, but also our kids who are just plain in need, who slip through the cracks. Parents are struggling. They don't qualify as McKinney-Vento, but they're literally struggling to make ends meet. This last year, our McKinney-Vento department and our clothing bank were able to offer services for 2,250 students and their entire families for those type of products. We are very, very lucky to have a lot of community partners, whether it be family members, individual donors. Our business and our business partners who work with Fort Wayne Community Schools are also great about providing supplies. We call somebody and we say, we really need this. They don't hesitate. They help our kids.
1480 is up quite a bit, is it not?
I'm so sorry.
1480 for McKinney-Vento, that's up quite a bit.
Yes, especially during COVID, our numbers dropped, and quite honestly, it's because we couldn't find families. But they, every year, are growing more and more. I think the year before, if I remember correctly, we were a little under 1,300, so that's a lot of kids. And I know even the start of this school year, the staff in the McKinney-Vento shop are saying they're more busy than they've ever been before.
Is the location of our clothing bank on Catalpa?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's on Catalpa Street.
So do they have a donation box, or is it just the one behind Face?
So there's a donation box at Catalpa Street. Unfortunately, we had to remove the donation box at Face. Quite honestly, there was a lot of vandalism and not so pleasant things going on. We have a lot of donors that will call or just come into the front door, and we just take them in from there. So if you know anybody, if anybody wants to provide supplies, donations, clothes, please come into the front door of Face. We will come get them out of your car. We will take them and get them there.
Do you take clothing, obviously, but do you take like toiletries and things like that?
Absolutely. Clothing, if they're underwear, socks, they have to be new, but shoes, hygiene products, dollar stores are a great place to get soaps, shampoos, so any kind of supplies that would help a family out. Anything that you wake up in the morning and you need to get ready, the same things our kiddos need. So our backpack program is a program that is funded by the Anthus, FACE, and GRILE staff. Our backpack program last year was able to provide enough backpacks for 550 students. That's not just the backpacks, that also includes all the supplies that they might need in the classroom. So, and that's just from folks like us sitting in the room here, so thank you. Transportation department, as you know, transportation's difficult. It's difficult for all families, but McKinney-Vento department works very closely with the transportation department in utilizing specialized routes, but also utilizing gas cards for parents. This past year, we had 1,396 special requests for specialized route busing to hotels, to shelters, to maybe off the beaten path house that maybe didn't have a route, just to keep kids in their current school. We don't like kids bounce from school to school. When they're bouncing from house to house, we want them to have something that's stable. Staying in that school when possible, it's not always possible, but when possible, keeping them in their school. And we had 286 fuel vouchers that were provided to parents so that they could provide transportation to their kiddos to school. We are also the local education agency for the IDOE McKinney-Vento Consortium grant. Last year the grant was $225,000. And that's about what it is yearly. Christian is the lead person for Fort Wayne Community Schools, for MSD Steuben County, for Southwest Allen County Schools, and for East Allen County Schools. So.
Why do we go all the way up to Steuben and skip all the other ones?
So the IDOE probably 3 to 4 years ago, part of the stipulation around the funding was you can do it on your own, but if you go into consortium, you have a possibility of more funding. And MSD Steuben was trying to grow their McKinney-Vento program, try to start it, and they reached out to us and wanted to know if they could be part of our consortium.
So the other districts between, or in our county or between here and there have their own?
Or nothing at all, quite honestly. We find that there are a lot of school districts that just don't provide. And we know that there is need.
And I know this is a federal program, right? And there's funding attached to this?
Yes, last year it was $225,000.
Total?
Total, just for our 4 schools. So it's not tons, but every bit helps.
So we don't get any funding attached to provide these services, period, other than $225,000?
Correct.
Yeah, we have 300.
But it's a positive too, because when you've got 4 school districts working together, we can help each other with services. So it's a positive for us too, not just because of the funding. East Allen especially are great with having the communication. We share community partners. We share resources.
You mentioned that FACE, GRILE, and Anthus fund the backpack program. How do they support that program?
Great question, thank you. For the backpack program, two of the main ways, actually there's three main ways. The first is Payday Friday. Staff members wear jeans and they donate $1 to wear jeans on those Fridays. Another way is provided, we have food trucks come, especially during the nice months, and we ask that the vendors, they used to be at Grau, but now they set it at the Face Building. We ask that all of the vendors donate back 10% of their proceeds to our backpack program. The third way that we have businesses in Fort Wayne that are business partners. They provide services for Fort Wayne community. Purchasing department, accounting department calls and says, hey, we're doing a backpack program, and they say, what do you need? We'll buy it. So if we need colored pencils, crowns, then we've got one company, he literally loads everything up in his van and brings it to us.
Thank you.
Mr. Schiebel, thank you so much. I also wanted to thank Austin for doing the video for us. I was hesitant. I hate being on video, but thank you for doing that. Any other questions?
Just a couple. Do we use volunteers at the clothing bank?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have 2 part-time staff members at the clothing bank, and I would say probably 90% of the time that I go out to the clothing bank, there are other volunteers there. Community members from churches, family, friends, word of mouth. Hey, I heard you had a clothing bank. How can I help out?
And what are the hours of the clothing bank?
We try to keep them from 8 until 4, but if a family's in need, we'll have somebody there. And a lot of times, we don't have families come there. They'll fill out the request for clothing, and they may do it at Face, but they'll have a page, and it'll have room for 3 or 4 kids. List size of underwear, size socks, size shoes, size, on and on and on. And then they fill it at the clothing bank and bring it back to the engagement center, and then the parents can pick it up there. Also, if a parent has trouble with a vehicle, we will take it out and deliver, or send it to the school.
Would you keep us informed on a regular basis about the truancy bill? I'm just a little concerned about how that could be a significant problem for us.
Absolutely.
I think you're going to be busy, Kyra.
Kyra's been busy a lot with attendance.
And you're going to be seen as a bad guy. You really are. So we better be prepared for it.
And there's a lot more on the schools too, especially that K through 6.
And, I think, I can see nonprofits hearing about this and hearing half of the story and wondering why Fort Wayne Community Schools is doing what they're doing. And I think we need to be pretty tough about and insistent that kids who are of school age be in school.
Yes, sir.
Not at Target or Walmart or anywhere else.
Absolutely.
Because I see too many kids that look like they should be in school and they're shopping with their mom and dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions? Thank you so much,
Thank
Kim.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kyra. Thanks, Mary. Thanks for all the work you do. Okay. That leads us to board member comments. Steve?
Boy, I don't know. I'll pass this evening. Thank you.
Well, I just want to comment, I really do appreciate hearing more about FACE. I often share the events you have going on at FACE, but I don't think I was fully aware of all of the things that were happening at FACE, so it's great to know those things are happening. I would wonder how make sure we're communicating that to everybody, because I don't know that every parent knows that you can go for immunization or you can go for, so I was really, really glad to hear more about FACE.
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Nothing tonight, thanks.
No comments tonight.
Wow. Just really quick, I just wanted to say thank you to the Study Connection staff for putting together the breakfast. I can't even remember when it was, last week sometime. They did a great job with it. I had a vegan breakfast. I was shocked. I asked, "Is this vegan?" Why, yes, it is. So that was exciting. And they had a wonderful guest speaker, wrote children's books aged like 7 to 12, I believe, and she was just amazing, so I appreciated that. So if you're interested in Study Connection, being a tutor after school, look for Study Connection on our website.
Thanks, ma'am. Dr. Daniel?
Keep it short.
Let's keep it short. So the volunteer process, again, our goal is to expand that. I know Dr. Brown, and, as well as what's happening with Shanita's team, we have an AIP on that specific process. There continues to be interest in this area, and we know how important it is. So very interested in moving this forward. So thank you. I know Ann participates in several students continuing that process this year. And we just met, Dr. Robbins and I just met this morning with Big Brothers Big Sisters. And we're all seeing a resurgence of volunteers coming back after the COVID year. So it's very good. It's good news. We know it helps each of our kids. And again, our focus is literacy. So it was very nice having that speaker at whoever arranged that. I don't know who arranged it, but that was spot on. Because again, it was, how do we focus on literacy? How do we move our third graders? And we're seeing some significant results. So that's all I have for today.
Thanks. I just wanted to say thank you to all of the staff who were at Open Streets. FWCS always has lots of departments there, so transportation, nutrition, services. This year, it was not 125 degrees outside, so it was actually lovely to be there this year. But thank you, because I know that that's outside of your normal time, and it was 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon. So thank you to all who helped with that. And I think that is all I have.
Move we adjourn, Madam President.
Second.
Thanks, Noah. Thanks, Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?